Once upon a time, in a serene village where artistry thrived, there lived a young woman named Cha. She was the daughter of Obina, a renowned sculptor, and Adugo, a talented artist. One morning, driven by a longing to visit the village where her father was meant to deliver sculptures, Cha began preparing for her journey. As she got ready, she heard the rhythmic sound of drums approaching closer and closer to her home. Curious and somewhat anxious, she stepped outside to investigate the commotion. To her astonishment, it was her father, Obina, standing with a group of people. Cha's heart leaped with joy and confusion. Before she could utter a word, her father, sensing her presence, turned and saw her. However, the joy in his eyes was quickly replaced by a profound sadness. Cha's scream echoed through the compound, alerting Obina to what she had already discovered. Her beloved mother, Adugo, had passed away. Adugo had succumbed to a broken heart, leaving a void in the lives of her family. The days that followed were a dark and sorrowful period for Cha and her father. Obina, who had always been strong and resilient, was now a shadow of his former self. He refused to eat, drink, or leave his hut, consumed by his grief. Cha, witnessing her father's despair, grew increasingly worried. Despite her efforts to coax him into eating, he remained steadfast in his sorrow. One day, determined to break through her father's wall of grief, Cha prepared his favorite meal, egusi soup and pounded yam. She took the food to him, hoping to see a flicker of the man he once was. As she presented the meal to him, Obina managed a faint smile and accepted the food. Yet, before he could finish, he set it aside and broke into tears. "Destroy all the sculptures," he cried out. "They remind me of my late wife. I don't care if they arrest me. I don't care anymore." Cha was bewildered by his words. What did he mean by, "I don't care if they arrest me"? Desperate for answers, she pressed him to explain. Finally, Obina revealed the burden he had been carrying. Before Adugo died, they had been contracted to furnish the king's palace in a neighboring village. Adugo had completed only half of the sculptures, and her untimely death left the project unfinished. As the primary sculptor, Obina had no plausible explanation for why the project could not be completed. "Papa," Cha said softly, "you know I sculpt very well too. I can finish it." Obina looked at his daughter with a mix of gratitude and relief. "This will be the last job we do. I am tired of posing as the sculptor," he confessed. He revealed that the payment from this job would be more than enough to retire them, ensuring that Cha would never have to work a day in her life again. With determination and love for her father, Cha set to work immediately. Although she wasn't naturally gifted as an artist, years of observing her mother had honed her skills. She worked tirelessly, channeling her mother's spirit through her hands. Weeks turned into months, and finally, Cha completed the sculptures for the king's palace. Her father gathered them for delivery, promising to return the next morning. But that promise turned out to be a lie. Obina did not return the next day or the day after. As days turned into weeks, Cha grew increasingly worried. She would often run outside, hoping to see her father's familiar figure, only to be met with disappointment. One fateful morning, Cha resolved to journey to the village where her father was supposed to deliver the sculptures. As she prepared to leave, she once again heard the sound of drums approaching her house. This time, she went outside with a sense of trepidation. To her utter shock, there stood her father, Obina, but he was not alone. Beside him was a woman holding a little boy. "My daughter," Obina called out, "come and greet your father's new wife." Cha was taken aback, her heart heavy with confusion and disbelief. She waited for the crowd to disperse before pulling her father aside for a private conversation. "A new wife? Mama died just 3 months ago," she protested. Obina looked at her, his eyes pleading for understanding. "My child, your father is happy. Don't spoil this for me," he implored. He went on to explain that the king had loved the sculptures and had commissioned more, which could be sold in the marketplace. Char was upset. Her perception of her father shattered. She had always believed her parents did not love each other due to their frequent quarrels. But seeing her father's behavior now, she realized he was heartless. Yet she knew she was not weak. She would not be bullied by anyone, not even her father. Seeking clarity, Char decided to take a long walk to clear her mind. She walked for over an hour until she arrived at the seaport. The boatmaster called out, "One chance to Umo!" Intrigued, Char considered the possibility of leaving, especially since her best friend had moved to Umo a year ago. She thought a visit might help her clear her head. Just as she was about to pay for her fare, an elderly woman interrupted, pleading to take her place as she needed to be in Umo for her sister's burial. Feeling compassionate, Char allowed the woman to go in her stead. "When is the next boat to Umo?" she asked the boatmaster. "Next week," he replied. Seeing her disappointment, he pointed to another boat. "That one is going to Araka. You can take it and then find another boat to Umo." Char decided to follow his suggestion and paid her fare to Araka. As the boat sailed away, she felt a sense of liberation, knowing that leaving her father was the best decision. Upon arriving in Araka, she discovered that the next boat to Umo would not depart until the following day. Needing a place to rest, she wandered into the village. Along the way, she noticed a man staring at her intently. Feeling unnerved, she confronted him, but he quickly apologized and went on his way. About 20 minutes later, another woman froze upon seeing Char and called out, "Adugo!" Char was startled. How did this stranger know her mother's name? Curiosity piqued, she followed the woman, who introduced herself as Needy, her mother's former hairdresser. As they talked, Needy revealed shocking truths about Char's mother. Adugo was of royal blood and had fled Araka with Obina. This revelation turned Char's world upside down. She had always believed she was from OC, not Araka. Needy invited Char to stay with her, and Char accepted, feeling strangely at home in Araka. Over the days, Needy shared more stories about Adugo, deepening Char's understanding of her heritage. During this time, Char also grew close to Needy's son, Tobe. They bonded over long walks and simple conversations, developing feelings for each other. One day, Char confided in Toby her desire to free her people from slavery. Toby listened but was skeptical about the feasibility of her plan. Char believed that the new king, King Ife, was kind and might be open to their appeal. However, Toby doubted that kindness alone would be enough to grant them freedom. Undeterred, Char sought advice from Needy, who wholeheartedly supported her quest for freedom. They began to plan, gathering respected members of their community to strategize. Char did not want a war. She envisioned a peaceful appeal to the king's conscience. For the next 6 months, Char tirelessly sculpted beautiful gifts for the king. The villagers were also asked to contribute yams as a gesture of goodwill. Although Toby thought it was a foolish idea, Char remained resolute, even if it meant risking her life. Finally, the day of the presentation arrived. The villagers, young and old, marched to the king's palace with their gifts. Char recognized King Ife as the man who had stared at her when she first arrived in Araka. The villagers presented their offerings, and Char spoke passionately on behalf of her people. King Ife listened intently, and after a moment of silence, he spoke. "I would like to apologize for my grandfather's mistakes. To make amends, I am setting all of you free today." The villagers erupted in joyous cheers. Although King Ife had never mistreated them, They were overjoyed to no longer be considered slaves in their own land. Days later, King If couldn't stop thinking about Cha. He had been captivated by her since the first day he saw her. Determined to express his feelings, he visited her and confessed his love, proposing marriage and suggesting that their villages merge for greater strength and unity. Cha asked for time to consider his offer. She consulted her people, and King If did the same. Both communities agreed, recognizing the benefits of unity. Thus, Cha and King Ife were married, and their villages merged to form a new village called Udu, meaning peace. In the end, what had failed to happen between Undi and Adugo years ago came to fruition through Ife and Cha. Their union brought peace and prosperity to their people. Moral of the story: this tale teaches us about resilience, the importance of understanding one's heritage, and the power of unity and peaceful resolution. It also highlights that sometimes what our ancestors couldn't achieve, we can accomplish through determination, love, and collaboration.